been up for 20-something hours, more than that, way more than that.
Yeah.
We've been up for like 2 days, and we're in Stavanger, Norway, and I'm completely pissed off. But here's your behind the box.
Be careful when opening the overhead compartments.
You filming?
Yep, we're rolling.
Is the audio on? You think you're getting good audio out here, Mr. Tyler?
I do.
Okay, so we're here in Stavanger, Norway, and we're talking about the behind the box for, what month are we in, Mr. Bronco? April. Month of April. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the HVC Habano. It's a duo. In the LCA, we had a HVC Maduro. In the Privada Cigar Club, PCC, we have a Habano. So it's the same exact cigar, but with different wrapper. So one for the LCA had the San Andreas Mexican wrapper, and this one, the Habano for the club, has a Habano wrapper. I believe the Habano wrapper is an Ecuadorian Habano. Rainier Lorenzo's been working with us pretty much since the inception of the club, and he's a great guy, and he's someone that I enjoy supporting. He recently went and started his own factory. He was working out of Aganorsa, but went and started his own factory. He uses mostly Aganorsa tobacco to make his cigars, and I think you're really gonna love this cigar. Which do I like better out of the Maduro and the Habano? Well, the Maduro rated a 90 on Cigar Public, and the Habano rated a 92. I would put that the other way around. I'd give the Maduro a 92-ish, and I'd give the Habano a 89, 90-ish. So that's where that stands. And shout out to Rainier and HVC Cigars, a brand we look forward to growing with for years to come. The second cigar for April that I want to talk about is a cigar that was made by the legendary blender, the Dominican blender, Mr. Eladio Diaz. When I got to sit down with Eladio, and when I've talked to Eladio in the past, his whole thing is like, please teach the American cigar consumer and cigar consumers worldwide the real deal. They've been lied to. The brands lied to them constantly. Teach them the real way. And so that's part of the inspiration for what we do here, right? It's always been education, but getting to sit with masters like Eladio, gives us more insight. And so, there's this balance of giving you guys the information that you should have versus what you've already been taught, which a lot of it was kind of wrong. And so I don't want to sit here and pretend like I know everything, but I've been fortunate enough and blessed to have sat down with people like Eladio, the Kellner family, AJ, and learned through asking questions, through experience, and through listening. So those three things have put us in a situation where we know a lot more than the regular consumer. And if you're reading the cards that come with your box every month, you're getting that education that Eladio is hoping that you guys get. And so this is a purely Dominican cigar. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up with this cigar is because a lot of times people say this is a Nicaraguan puro or this is a Dominican puro, and it is not. They're not. They're just not. They're mostly Ecuadorian Habano wrappers, and this cigar is an actual full-on Dominican puro made by probably the best master blender of the Dominican Republic's history, Mr. Eladio Diaz. So I'm really happy to share that with you. As for the band, it's part of our fake Cuban series, or our traditional Cuban series, where we're basically, going so traditional that it's ripping off original Cuban bands, but we're also following that up with our own intellectual property characters that are accompanying those bands on the back. So I can probably only show you the back of this band to not risk getting a cease and desist. But cease and desist, is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah.
So the last cigar we're going to talk about is probably the cigar that will be talked about the most. It was a cigar that we released at Privada Con 2 as a pre-release. It is made by Don Oman. Don Oman owns the factory in Costa Rica that Santana works out of, that Nelson Alfonso works out of. Check this out. That Nelson Alfonso works out of. This is the factory where DeCrossier comes from, where Byron comes from, where Atabey comes from, and we were lucky enough to go down there and film a documentary with Santana, Andres, his son, his whole family really, and Oman. And after sitting with Oman for a couple of days, I really wanted to make a cigar with his name on it. And so what I did was borrowed some inspiration from, there is in Purascal, Costa Rica, there is a church. It's, I think, on like some ancient ruins list or something like that, a historic Catholic church. It's ruins, but one of the things that's still left is this stained glass window. And so the design on the front of the band is a replica of that stained glass window. I changed the colors up for, you know, a couple of reasons, but this cigar bears his name. It's the first cigar that ever, actually that's not true, he has put out an Oman in the past, but long ago, and most people have never even seen it or gotten their hands on it. Next we're going to talk about farm rolled. Farm rolled is really just the best bang for your buck. I mean, these are the cigars. We went over this. I think we did a farm rolled smoke live recently, a couple weeks ago. It's a $5 cigar that competes with some of the best cigars on the market. If you're not in farm rolled, you're missing out, and I'll tell you why you're missing out. Because cigars with bands on them are fantastic for collecting and for smoking, but for daily smoking, for really understanding cigars and understanding tobacco, smoking cigars without bands, with a little bit less psychology on them from those bands, is the way to go. You're going to learn more. So when you get that farm rolled tasting note, you're going to see what the wrapper is, what flavors to look for, and what country it comes from and what factory it comes from. And then you can start to understand what that factory can do. You'll know what AJ can do. You'll know what Aganorsa can do. You'll know what Chico can do, and so on and so forth. So that's how you learn cigars on a more intimate level, is farm rolled, and it's 4 cigars for $20. I don't have the cigars on me right now, but I can tell you that they're all bangers, as always. And if you were on the Smoke Live, you know what I'm talking about. Lastly, I don't know what crazy person is doing Brian's box, but it can't stay like this forever. We have 2 more months of 5 cigars, and then it'll go back to 4 cigars. And I'm doing this for a number of reasons that I won't get into. It's not important, but I mean, look at what you're getting for $28, my people. A Joya de Nicaragua. We got a Wise Man United collab. Like, are you serious? A firecracker or whatever. I got an Illusione. This cigar is fantastic. I got an Emilio, and then I got, I don't know. This is we're losing money on this for sure. Hours, more than that, way more than that.
Yeah.
We've been off for like 2 days, and we're in Stavanger, Norway, and I'm completely pissed off. But here's your behind the box.